Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little video on the Louboutin Anjalina pumps. As most of you already know, I am an online reseller, and so I do sell quite a few of these pumps online. I've sold this particular style several times and it seems to be very popular, and it is a very versatile style that Louboutin makes. And so I thought I would just go into a little bit about the shoe, some of the features, why it's so popular. But first I was thinking that I would just kind of show you guys some of the different styles that I have seen online that seem really popular, as well as some of the ones that I have sold myself. We'll also be touching on some of the kind of cons of this shoe in particular. And then we'll be talking about some of the studs as well. And I actually have some extra studs from some other shoes. And so I'll show you some of those and kind of give you some of my thoughts and tips about replacing those here towards the end of the video. So starting off with the exact shoe that I actually will be listing for sale. These are the Anjalina Spiked Suede Pumps is what they are called. As you can see, it only has a one review, but it is 5 stars. And although there aren't a lot of reviews on this particular site, on the Saks Fifth Avenue site, I have seen this shoe actually have numerous 5-star reviews. It does seem to be one of their more popular ones. So as you can see, this is a blue suede material, which, you know, suede is not my preferred exterior of shoes. I think it can tend to rub and just not wear as well and not last as long. But if you are someone who takes really good care of your shoes and maybe you wouldn't wear it all the time, then I think it could potentially last you a very long time. That being said, the color is gorgeous. The texture is lovely, just as you would expect for a suede pair of shoes. This particular shoe is 100 millimeters, 10 centimeters. It's approximately a 4-inch heel. As you can see, there's lots of tiny stud detailing, which I think is what a lot of people really find classic about Louboutin. He obviously loves to style a lot of his shoes with the studs. But the Anjalina and some of his other styles have these smaller studs than kind of the classic studs that you might see with like the older generation of studded spiked shoes that he has. And so I think it makes it a little bit more versatile for like everyday wear potentially. You know, if you're not into like the super punk rock appearance. But again, that does come with like the inherent cons of losing some of these studs, which I'll show you guys in just a little bit. But there you have it. There's kind of an outline of the studs all around the shoe and then on the back heel. And then the silhouette of the shoe is just kind of the customary Louboutin silhouette that we've come to love and appreciate. It's just like a totally sexy shoe. So there you have it. This is in a like royal blue color. I forget the exact colorway. And then in terms of the details, so they do talk about these metallic studs. It is a covered heel, 4 inches or 100 millimeters. It is suede leather uppers throughout, and it has that pointed shoe feature. And there is leather lining inside, and then the classic red sole that we've come to love and expect of all Louboutin shoes. So here are a couple examples of kind of some of the styles of the Anjalina and what it comes in. So black is obviously a super common style. It's very versatile, fits with lots of different colors, different outfits. This particular pair was black suede with like a black gunmetal metallic spikes. They're totally gorgeous, and so you can see why a lot of women would potentially gravitate towards these particular shoes. And here is another pair. They came also in patent leather, which I think when you couple patent leather with spikes, you could potentially run into a very serious situation of damaging your shoes. Patent leather is just so much more sensitive to kind of any potential damage, so something you want to consider. I've seen a lot of these patent Angelinas just look like they are in terrible condition, even though it looks like they weren't specifically worn a lot. So like the red sole didn't really have a whole lot of wear, but the exterior of the shoe just looked like it had been worn a lot, when maybe that wasn't necessarily true. There are a couple heel heights that I think the Anjalina came. There's the 85 millimeter and then the 100 millimeter. I think it may have also come in the 120 millimeter, which is the more kind of customary socate height, which is above a 4-inch heel. I mean, that's really high, and as you probably know, not super comfortable. In my experience, I always thought that the lower heel height would be a more popular seller. I have not really come to find that out. Granted, I'm not finding the shorter heights as frequently. Maybe it's because people are holding on to them more because they like them and they're reselling or selling, getting rid of the higher height heels. I'm not sure, but I can see why this one would still be just as popular. I mean, I think if I could find an 85 millimeter in my size, I would probably go for the lower height. It just seems like you could just wear it more frequently. And they did come in all sorts of colors, in the suede and in the patent leather. And here's just another cool color. It's kind of like a green, blue, teal color. And then this is just another picture of the like royal blue color. Now, I had mentioned previously, erroneously, that I've been having a harder time finding the lower heel heights, but I actually take that back, because upon reviewing these listings, actually the only prior pairs that I have had were actually the 85 millimeter. And so that does go to show that, maybe these are more popular. Conversely, maybe people are selling them more frequently than the higher heel. I'm not really sure. So, but be that as it may, so this was one pair of shoes that I had sold at one point. I believe this was like called Poseidon Blue or something. So it's this like dark navy color with silver spikes. And I think these were in pristine condition, meaning that all of the studs were intact, and these had not been worn. There were no flaws to the suede, and these were just totally gorgeous. Here was a stock photo to just kind of show what they looked like on. So there you have it. The leather soles were just pristine and not ever even worn. These were in a 39.5, which is a very common size. And there are the imprints that we know and love. So these were the 85 millimeters, 39.5. Now the other pair that I sold were also 85 millimeters, but they were black with silver spikes. Obviously, this is a more versatile color scheme that maybe more people would gravitate towards, and therefore, despite their condition, could have probably commanded a higher price. I don't remember exactly what these ended up selling for ultimately, but I did go through and describe that these had been worn only a couple of times. There's a little bit of wear on the heel tips there, but not much. They were not missing any studs, and I did actually take the time to take these to my cobbler, and I got the mirror red rubber soles replaced on these, which I think is a really great investment that you can do. And I like to do that to shoes that are the more classic staple type pieces that I know maybe someone is going to wear for a long time. And so I like to just kind of get that done. I think I have a great cobbler in the area that does this really well. And it can be quite expensive, and it does take a long time. So you got to take that stuff into account. It's going to take more time. You're going to have a higher turnaround before you can get the item listed, unfortunately. But I think it can increase the value of the shoe. Maybe not necessarily by the amount that the sole replacement costs, but overall I think it could potentially increase the likelihood of your item to sell. So there was a stock photo, 85 millimeters. This was the Anjalina. The velours is the suede material, and these are just absolutely gorgeous. They were also a more popular size. These were 39. Yeah, so these did really great for me. So now we're gonna get into the actual shoe itself here. So these are not in quite as good a condition as the previous shoes that I had shown you. These are actually missing a couple spikes, and here is where one of them is missing, and I believe, let's see, the other one is on the other shoe. So right here, you can kind of see that. They're very small, and so it is pretty hard to see. One issue that I've come up with is that my cobbler actually does not know how to fix the replace these missing studs. Now, if I had the missing studs, you know, potentially I could do it myself with some super glue. I think there's some videos out there that show that. Maybe I'll make a video if I ever do replace some on my own. But for the time being, I've kind of collected some of the studs, and so I don't have any of the blue metallic ones, but I was going to show you guys. So I've kind of kept some of them. So here are some from the Colorways. This is another shoe that I'm selling, and I have sold it a couple of times. It's very similar to the Anjalina, but here are some of the studs, and these actually, they do not come with the stems that also need to be replaced. Most of the time the stems stay in place, so the stem is kind of this metallic thing. It can kind of have some, it can kind of be like a screw that you screw the stud on. Most of the time they're not missing, so I think that's probably why they're not always included with the studs themselves, but they will obviously include the studs that you can replace. So these would probably fit. They seem to be about the same size as what is on the Anjalina, but they're gold, so obviously that's not going to work. And I was also going to show you guys just some larger studs that I have had, and I'm just kind of saving them in this container, but you can kind of see in there some of the metallic stems that you put the stud on, and so if you were missing the stem, then you would kind of need to have that as well. A long time ago, before I realized that these come sometimes with the replacements, I thought that I could just buy them on like Amazon or something. Turns out you pretty much cannot find these studs anywhere else except from Louboutin, or you can sometimes buy them, which is what I've done in the past. You can buy them from resellers that are selling them individually online. Sometimes you can find them that way, but otherwise you pretty much cannot find any other manufacturer that makes them this precisely and this high quality. So I wouldn't even try if that's what you are thinking to do. So there you have the studs. Going back to the shoe itself, so I had mentioned that, sometimes these studs are pretty finicky and they can actually kind of destroy the shoe sometime. And so that actually you can kind of see here. So there are some scratches from the studs on the other shoe, unfortunately, and that's just something that you're probably never really going to be able to get rid of, and so that's just going to be there. Another kind of little bit of wear that occurs with these, you can kind of make it out on these heels, right on these tips right here, but these are actually made of plastic, and so if they rub up against each other or up against a hard surface, they can actually get scratched and dulled themselves, and so that nice metallic finish will kind of rub off. So that's something to consider. And then, other features of this shoe. So this is the higher heel height. So this is the 100 millimeter heel, so 4-inch heels. It's pretty high in my opinion, but it is very classic for some of the Louboutin shoes. Here are some additional signs of wear. This isn't totally bad. There are some videos out there for getting rid of that appearance. It involves a lighter and obviously fire, which I'm a little scared to do myself on these shoes. So I'll probably just leave them as is and just kind of disclose the wear, but not very visible, especially when you're wearing these. And then always got to watch out for the wear, obviously on the soles themselves. These actually don't have a whole lot of wear, but the tips especially. And this is a reason why I like to get the soles replaced, because you can just kind of replace that heel tip and then they look much better. I didn't want to do that with these because I think that there's actually still quite a bit of leather that's protecting them, and so I felt that that was something that the buyer could do after they wear and they decide that they want to invest in that. And there's the classic imprint on the glossy red sole. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you're still watching along, must mean that you enjoyed some of this video. So please like, subscribe, and comment below so that other people can find this video and my other videos. I plan on doing more videos of Louboutins. That is one of my favorite items to source and resell. And we'll be talking about more styles and other luxury items and brands. So comment below on things that maybe you'd be interested in seeing, and make sure you tune back for more videos. All right, thanks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.